All right, so this is in reflection number 4 of the EDC 220B assignments. So the prompt being answering the prompt. By now you've given and received feedback for one cycle of the LMS project. Using these experiences, how or why might you use feedback cycles, including student-to-student peer feedback in your teaching practice? That's pretty standard, especially when it comes to bigger assignments, um, like essays or other kind of summative assessments, presentations, that kind of thing. You provide the rubric, and then students, um, you know, evaluate the slideshow or the essay or the presentation or whatever it is using that rubric. So not only does that help students the receiving the feedback, they tend to pay attention to that a little more because of just respect for their peers, or they care a little more about what their peers think. They don't want to think they're dumb. Sometimes, that can work against you too, particularly if you have students who are not necessarily all that academically engaged, and they work with others who are like-minded. So that can be kind of a negative or an inverse effect. That's why I try to generally assign these things at random and have the Schoology or whatever make randomize things a little bit, just so we don't run into that problem of um, you know students either inflating or deflating grades, right, or evaluations or that kind of thing. Um, I think you tend to be a little more honest when it comes to people you don't know very well, but you still care. You get the smart kid who's evaluating your paper or whatever it is. You don't want to look like you're dumb, right? So in Schoology, you use it a lot. I use it a lot. Just even evaluating each other's homework, right? Providing notes of where they did things well, where they can improve. That simplifies my job as a teacher. And plus, I think it helps, just that advance that whole paradigm of cooperative or collaborative learning, where the teacher is more of a facilitator and kids kind of drive their own bus when it comes to school. I like that, the idea of cooperative learning. You have whole schools organized around that, where there's a lot more feedback and students kind of evaluating each other and assessing each other, and teachers, while they're responsible for inputting grades and stuff like that, kids are more keep themselves accountable rather than always looking to an adult all of the time. So your particular example here says give an explicit example of how your response connects to your teaching. Like, I would integrate peer feedback in my standard teaching practice by setting up a discussion forum, students require, and blah blah blah. I mean, obviously that's what you do, and most every professor has done since COVID began and everything was for kind of forced migration over to online learning. I do it, like I said, in Schoology. Um, not just exams or major um, summative assessments, but other ones too, right? Um, just so they can get each other's feedback and interest, expose them to new things. I did that with a lesson around the environment where they made zines, right? And so even just people's opinions on aesthetics and stuff like that, right, can be super helpful, because that's what kids respond to. They know what each other's interested in, and what they're going to respond to. Um, so that's useful in that way. Give students a structured way to um, or means by which they can express their opinions on a variety of topics, even if it's not a firm like this is your grade. Just feedback helps improve the product overall, and kind of establishes the social character of work, rather than just have this be this purely individuated competitive thing, right? So knowledge creation and all of that becomes more of a cooperative or collective product, rather than again just individual learning, which doesn't always happen as much as when it's performed in a group situation. So, anyways, feedback's great. I tend to, Ironically, I tend to be much more individually motivated, and I don't like group work. Um, so, it definitely teaches you humility, right? To value others in your group, and the peers that you're assigned with. Humble yourself, accept their feedback, and to give feedback. Right? Not all of us, we don't want to step on toes or anything like that, but to give authentic feedback is an important skill to have. Um, not just so it's surface level. So the way I would implement it is, just really try to coax kids into providing meaningful feedback instead of the whole "I liked it, you did great, this is wonderful," right? But try to model that by giving very specific comments and say, "Hey, these are um, these are the kinds of things you should be looking for in your own work and when you're assessing other students' work." Um, without being afraid to step on toes, and you can be vulnerable there. I don't know how specific this was or explicit this was. This is just standard practice, especially in online learning, that feedback. And again, I like that this is a consistent thing. It's a cycle. It's not just this one-off, one-time event, towards a summative assessment. But then the more formative or diagnostic assessments, you can include that too to help pivot kids, um, thinking on a subject, or to maybe help peers, give them ideas. Again, cooperative learning. So hopefully this meets the criteria here, and we'll see you next time.